Do you want to wake up feeling like you're stepping into who you're meant to be, into the best possible version of you? What if I told you that the key to your best life, health, and happiness are all around you? You just have to find what works for you. I'm Hope Pedraza, and I believe that there isn't just one way to live a healthy and meaningful life, and that all you need is a little inspiration to make changes that last from the inside out. Each week, I'll be sharing tangible tips and inspirational interviews to help you on your journey. These are the steps to take to improve your life and live with purpose. This is Hopeful and Wholesome. Hey y'all, welcome back to Hopeful and Wholesome. I am starting my new series today, and I'm super excited to welcome you into the series. This is the Awakened by Design series, where I'm unveiling my journey with human design and my innate intelligence. And I wanted to bring you a series that really walks you through just kind of my own journey of kind of discovering myself and discovering this through human design, and just kind of listening into the innate intelligence within me in order to kind of bring you a practical blueprint so that you can do this within yourself. And if you follow me for any length of time, you know that I have become obsessed with human design, and I talk about it from time to time, and I talk about it on social media, and I've had some episodes here, and I'll mention those episodes here in a second. But I've recently just kind of been feeling the nudge to really dive deeper into this. It's become such a transformational piece of my own journey that I really want to help it or use it to help other people on theirs, and have just these incredible tools that I've been using to navigate kind of, my own self-discovery journey and finding out who I am, understanding who I am, understanding how I work, how I'm wired, how my body works, all of that. And then really tying that together with, that innate intelligence I was talking about, like body awareness and body wisdom, and really understanding how your body works, which really goes with the functional nutrition work that I do as an FDNP. So I feel like these pieces just tie in so perfectly together. And that's really why I've been drawn to start the series and into kind of some new things that I'll be mentioning over the course of the series that I'm bringing to life through my own personal journey, and really bringing these two worlds together, this world of, body awareness and healing things on, the physical and the emotional and the mental plane, and putting it together with a piece like human design, which is also all of these mental, emotional, spiritual pieces, putting all of this. It's just one big, beautiful, glorious puzzle that I feel like God is just putting in front of me to help kind of put the pieces together in my own life so that I can help you put the pieces together for your life. So I'm really excited about this, and I'm excited about the series. I'm excited to bring you the new things that are coming off kind of the tail of this idea that I had for this series, like my masterclass series, which I'll talk about, and a new program that I'm putting out, and just all kinds of fun things that I'm putting together and I'm really excited about. So I want to preface this by saying that throughout this series, I'm going to be talking about my own human design chart and my own journey through human design, but I am going to give you ways to, for practical application in your own chart. And I'm also going to have it's going to be at the end of this, but I'm going to create a guide to help you kind of walk through all of this with your chart. But I will say, if you are new to human design, first of all, if you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say human design, you should go back. I have some other episodes that you can look at. So episode 53, I have an episode about human design and your personal power with Crystal Thompson. Episode 63, I have an episode with Kayla, and she talks about human design and gene keys. And then episode 71, I did a solo episode talking about your human design type and wellness, and kind of connecting that to your wellness. I just go through the type. So that's a good one to look at. And then I had another one, episode 86 with Daniel Iman. And while we didn't go like deep into human design, it's still, a nice episode just to kind of tie some pieces together with kind of how you can apply human design. So those are some episodes you can go back and check out if you don't know, because I'm not going to, in this series, I'm not going to go deep into what it is. This is more of like practical application. And so I want to be able to tie my human design, or tie it together with my human design, so that you can really understand how to apply it. Because I think that's the thing. And it's funny, I just had this conversation a couple days ago on an interview I was doing on another gal's podcast, and we were talking about human design.
there's a lot. I mean, honestly, there's a lot out there. I see it more because, of the bubble that I live in. But really, I mean, you can find there's so many people online now and on Instagram and, social media that are talking about human design and, helping with your business and relationships and that kind of thing and your kids. But I find that a lot of, while there are a lot of really great coaches out there that use it, I do find that a lot of the information is more just that, it's just information and it's not really how to apply it. And so the episodes that I have on my podcast that I just listed, that was 53, 63, 71, 86. Those episodes, a lot of that is about the practical application. And I wanted this series to be about that too, the practical application of like, how do I implement this in my own life? Like, how do I integrate this into my being? So I really know, because like the gal I was interviewing with, or she was interviewing me, she was saying that she's like, I've done, I've gotten human design chart and I've done a reading with someone, but then it's like they're just giving you information. You're like, okay, what do I do with it? Like, it's a lot of information. How do I do with it? So that's why I wanted to go through my own personal journey and talk about my chart so you can see as an example, like this is how you apply it to your life. Like this is how you really integrate it and into what a lot of people call the human design experiment, right? Is like living your life according to your human design with this really genius, divinely created blueprint that's been established for you just based on how and when you were born and where you were born. And yeah, so I want to tie that in just so we can really have more practical application. So there is one piece that I do want to mention before I go into kind of talking about my journey with this, because well, again, you can go back and listen to the other episodes and really learn what it is on just kind of a basic level. I do want to untangle a little bit of it because yes, when I talk about human design and I'll tell people like, yeah, it's, putting together these ancient wisdoms and schools of teaching like the chakra system and astrology and the I Ching, and you put it together with these things like quantum physics, quantum mechanics, like it sounds very woo, right? It sounds very woo, and it's very, in some levels it can be pretty esoteric. Like people are like, I don't even know like what that is. That doesn't make sense. And then for some people it can be like, some people kind of turn their noses up when you talk about astrology, or they get scared, like we're talking about, I don't know, like not, otherworldly things. And it's actually nothing like that at all. And I do, maybe this is an unpopular opinion, and I'm going to share some of my unpopular opinions here just because I feel like, it needs to be said. But before I say that, I want to say that there is a lot of science behind human design. And that's the piece I want to bring in here because, well, yes, we do are putting together with these systems like, like I mentioned, the chakra system and the I Ching and astrology and some other ancient teachings. There is a lot of science to it, and there's a lot of neuroscience, and there's a lot of quantum physics and quantum mechanics that are involved. And if you're not familiar with any of that, it's all about energy, and that's really what it stems from. And so kind of the science behind it, the science that is attached to it about energy is all based on neutrinos. And this is something you can go Google this yourself. Like I'm not making it up. I'm not making it up based on like weird, really obscure studies or anything. There's a lot of studies on this. And actually there's been some reports lately that like the government is, working with neutrinos to figure out some things that are going on in space. So it's neutrinos exist. I just want to say that. So if you don't know what a neutrino is, this is kind of we're looking at this in the context of human design and why we're looking at neutrinos. So basically, these are these little ghost particles that carry information that influences our DNA, which helps shape our personality and our life purpose. And that's how it's tied to human design. So these little neutrinos, they're the smallest possible particles. They're really like super tiny subatomic particles, and they're termed as ghost particles because they are so small. They're very elusive. They can pass through matter. They can pass through our body. They can pass through basically anything, like by the billions every second. So they're constantly being, passing through us and matter. And so they are very omnipresent. You can find them everywhere, but they're really they're challenging to detect because they have very weak interactions with matter. So it's like, with some particle beasts, when we look at atoms, like it's going to bounce off things, right? Where neutrinos just pass right through. And so they originate from different sources like the sun, things in space, like if there's cosmic rays that collide with in the Earth's atmosphere, and nuclear reactors. And so because they can travel through space and matter unaltered, it really gives us a really good source of information from like where they come from, their origin. And so, like studying, for example, like studying neutrinos that come from the sun, solar neutrinos, right? They can give us insight into like how the sun interacts with the environment, and the people, scientists can look at like nuclear fusion and the processes that happen within the sun. Like they can study it and look at things like that. So I know this is getting like really nerdy and sciencey, and this is what you came in this episode for. But I thought this was worth mentioning because I find this piece really, really fascinating because, yeah, we can look, and you know me, like I'm all about the woo. Like I like to talk about, talk to mediums and people who see things in other realms. And like I can talk about the woo all day. Give me the crystals, give me that, like all of that stuff. I just think I just love it. But this is a different piece. And so I can love the woo about human design and all of that. But there is a scientific piece that really makes sense. And I find that here's one of my unpopular opinions. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know. In some schools of thought, maybe it is. I find that, the more I learn about things like, for example, like human design and really diving into the science of like I'm talking about neutrinos right now. Like it's like I'd never heard of neutrinos before I found human design and I studied and I thought it was kind of this BS thing. They're making this up. And then when you go back and look, you're like, oh no, wait, like neutrinos people learn about this in school. Like their science is teaching us about neutrinos. And I find that the more I learn about things like this and neutrinos and how it all works and how it's interacting with our DNA and how we're designed and all that, for me, it really expands my view of everything, like the universe, how it works, like God's creation and how God divinely orchestrated everything in the universe to work in perfect order. Like for me, that's what it does. And this isn't to turn this into any like conversation about, religious beliefs or anything, but whatever you believe is your higher power is it, it applies to the same principle applies. So for me, like looking at this and looking at how like what neutrinos are and how they interact and really looking at like how they are interacting with our DNA and how our body is designed, like they call it neutrino imprinting, right? And this is what determines key patterns in people. And this is really what influences human design. Like that's kind of what it's based on. So it's based on where certain, planets, the sun, things were in space, the neutrinos coming from like the cosmos, where they were when you were born. And that's affecting those neutrinos that pass through you as you entered into this realm, into the physical realm. That's what's affecting your DNA. It was because it also human design also goes back to like when you were formed, like in the womb. And so it looks at part of your human design looks at like the 3 months prior to you actually like being born, before your actual birth date, and when everything was put into place, because science is showing us what all the things were formed in the womb 3 months before you're born, and it takes into account that piece and then the piece when you're born. So there's like this design piece of like your actual design in the womb in your mom, and then there's this personality piece when you're born. So there's both of these parts are at play within human design. So it's the part before you're born and the part when you were actually born, and all of that is coming together. And again, this beautiful puzzle of where energy was in the atmosphere, from the cosmos, everywhere, from the universe when you were born. And that's what's affecting your DNA, your personality, how you make decisions, your decision-making approach, how you interact with the environment and people around you, and your life's purpose. Like all of that is playing a part. And while that might sound really overwhelming, and again, it might sound a little woo to you, for me, it makes total and complete sense. And I think that's the point I was trying to make with my unpopular opinion is I think sometimes we have this, and I say we, and maybe I'm speaking for myself and my own personal experience with, you know, growing up in, church and religion and all of that. I think I think sometimes we can get a really small view of God and of the world and of the universe and of everything in it. And it's real limited to, what we're taught. But then when we broaden our perspective and when we broaden our viewpoint and when we broaden our mind to learn new things and to like deepen our understanding of these things, I think it really opens up this world where we see things in such a different way and we see that God is so much bigger. Like the universe is so much bigger than we thought it was. Like it's so much more detailed and just it's hard for me to put that into words, but I hope my point is coming across because I do think that I grew up with a very small viewpoint and perception of God and the universe and the world and how things are created and made and designed and learning, expanding my understanding of things and my educating myself on other things. I think is really it's just opened up my world to see things and how much bigger and intelligent and magnificent that God is and how he created things and how we're designed. So, and that's my spiel on that. But that was like so not the direction I was wanting to take that piece of the conversation. But I hope it's all making sense because there is this science piece, but I think the science piece ties into kind of this spiritual piece of how we're created and designed and how we were meant to show up here in the world. And it's all playing a part in our purpose. And so it's using all of this, understanding kind of the basis of humanism. I also don't want it to be too much information where you're like, you kind of your eyes start to glaze over and you're like, I don't even know what you're saying anymore because it is a lot. And I will say that if you when, I don't want to say if because I want everybody who's listening to go get your chart. So I'm going to say when you get your chart and you look at it. And first of all, if you've never looked at it before, you're going to be like, what the heck is this? And then two, you're probably going to be like, okay, this is a lot going on here. And it is. And you can really easily get into the weeds and go down rabbit holes, which for me, per my human design, I love going down the rabbit holes, but it's a lot of information to take in if you're doing it for yourself, like on yourself and trying to teach yourself. So I do recommend if you really want to go deep into your chart to get someone, whether it's me or whoever, whoever it is, somebody who can help walk you through it so that kind of what I was saying at the beginning, you're not just getting a bunch of information, then you're saying to yourself, like, what do I do with all this? That you're getting the information, but you're really understanding how to apply it to your life. That's really the most important piece. Because really, what use is having the chart if you don't know how to apply it? Like, that's cool and all to understand, everybody likes to learn more about themselves and how they're wired and all that. But if you can't apply it, then it's kind of like, what's the point? So I do recommend getting someone who knows. So you are getting your chart, and what you need for your chart, if you haven't ever done it before, you need your birthday, your birth time, your birthplace, and you need the exact answers to all of those. So don't guess on your birthday. Like look at your birth certificate. What I wanted to talk about today with my chart, I wanted to kind of go through the basic pieces of my type, my strategy, and my authority. So for me, if you're looking at your chart, let me say this too. I recommend, and I'm not getting paid to say this, I say it because I do like the site. If you go to myhumandesign.com, that's usually the one that I recommend the most. I feel like she does a really good job of breaking it down where it's easy to understand. And she just gives you the basics. Like it's not going to be a full on like reading. And you can pay to get more than what she gives you on the page. But really when you're starting out, all you need is what's there on the screen. Like otherwise it's just too much. So I would go to myhumandesign.com, type in all the things, and you get your chart. So if you haven't done that, stop this, go do that, then come back. And then you can jump in with us or with me. So even though I am just talking about my human design through this part of this series, it's still going to be really helpful information for you to apply it to yourself. So I want you to understand that piece too. So that being said, I am a manifesting generator. I am a 3-5 sacral authority manifesting generator. So if you look at your chart, if that sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo, if you look on your chart, you'll see your type, you'll see the profile has 2 numbers, you'll see what your authority is. And it literally says authority, and then it has what your authority is. So that is me. So I want to start by talking about my type. I am a manifesting generator, and how this piece really changed things for me. This is the first big change for me, understanding what a manifesting generator is. So the majority of the world is either generators or manifesting generators. The combination of that we make up the majority of the population. So if you are a projector or reflector and a manifester, you're pretty much running around with like 60% of the world being a generator or manifesting generator. And what it means to be a manifesting generator, we are here to be, and if you know me, like if you know me well and you're listening to this and I start talking, you're gonna be like, oh, this explains a lot. Because that's how I felt when I first started learning. I'm like, oh my gosh, this explains so much. So get ready. So as a manifesting generator, I am here to, manifesting generators are here to be multi-passionate and multifaceted and multitaskers, right? We're not here to really focus on the one thing. We're here to do all the things and do it all at the same time. This was a huge, huge revelation for me because I think for a long time leading up to my journey with human design, I felt I just felt like I needed to kind of put myself in a box. I think that's the best way to describe it. Where I was just telling myself, like, okay, just pick something. Like, just pick something and stick with it and just do that and stop trying to do 28 other things. Because that's what I've always done. I've always liked to do the things. And I think about like in middle school and high school, I was in this club and this group and that group and student council and like I did so many things, which I know a lot of kids do that. But I was just so passionate about so many different things. It wasn't like, oh, I just wanted to dabble because I wanted to build my, college resume. Like I just wanted to do all the things. And then even after that, and going into my entrepreneurial phase of my life, it's like there's so many things I want to do and try out and add to my business. It's just so I felt for a long time, I was telling myself, just pick something, just pick it and stick with it. Because the other piece of this is as a manifesting generator, we are very we're driven by our sacral, which is like your gut. It's like that, and I'll talk about that in a second, but it's what's lighting you up, what's bringing you joy, what's turning you on in the moment. And per our strategy and our authority, when it doesn't light you up anymore, when it doesn't excite you anymore, then you move on to the next thing. And this is another big piece for me because I felt like, as I would say, especially going into my like entrepreneurial phase of my life, there's a lot of things that I've started and didn't finish. And I would get so mad at myself for it. And if you're a generator or a manifesting generator listening to this probably resonates because I would get so mad at myself about it because I'm like, can you just like finish what you started? Like, why do you keep having to jump to the next thing? Like, but it was one of those things where I could not compel myself to do it. Like, it was like dragging myself through mud to try to finish this thing that I started. And I would get so mad and irritated and annoyed and frustrated with myself. And then learning my human design in this piece, I'm like, oh, this makes so much sense. And so, whereas society might say, we're flaky or we're indecisive or whatever other words you want to use for those, that's really how we're designed to be. Because the other piece of this, as a manifesting generator, a lot of times we're here to bring the idea to life and then let other people run with it. We're not always meant to like see the thing through, if that makes sense. And that was something I had to realize within myself where I could have these ideas and I have these like visions of things and I could start it, but just because I started it didn't mean I had to finish it because it could either mean maybe I'll pick it up later, maybe a few years down the road, I'll pick that thing up later that I wanted to start, or it could mean B, that somebody else is meant to take that and run with it. I was just here to bring the vision, the vision or the idea to life, and then somebody else is meant to see it through. And that was a huge piece for me, and really giving myself permission to go with that. For me, it's the sacral nudge. Is it lighting you up? Is it a gut response that's like, yeah, let's do this, or no, this is not for me, right? Which really leads me to my authority. So my authority, I mentioned before, I'm a sacral authority. So mine comes from the sacral, which is again like that gut feeling. So for me as a sacral authority, and if you have a sacral authority on your chart, we are it's a very clear yes or no in the moment, period. The end. That's it. Like that's how our decisions are made. So it's not like, let me dwell on it. Let me let it percolate. Let me like bring it up to my head and be mental about it. Like that's not how we're meant to make a decision. We're also not meant to make emotional decisions. And this is the piece for me that was a big game changer because I think so often making decision, and I think this so many of the things that are coming up right now in my head are decisions I've made in business. The decisions I made were either out of an emotional response, which typically was out of fear for me, like fear of, losing the sale or losing the growth, losing, whatever. It was fear. So fear as an emotion. Or the emotion of, I get so stuck in, and this is something I've worked through, is the human design piece has really helped with this, but the comparison, right? And if you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, you know what I'm talking about, where you get in this cycle of just constantly comparing yourself to this place or that place that has a similar service or product. And it's really a vicious cycle and you don't want to get in it, but it happens. And because we're human. And so decisions are made from that, right? So I feel like a lot of the decisions I was making were made emotionally, or I was bringing them up into my head and then making the decision from a mental place. And that's not what the mind is for. And this is a big piece with one of the mentors that I've worked with human design, one of my human design mentors. She made such a good analogy for this and such a good explanation for this and how to use the sacral as your authority, and saying that because there is no mental authority. Like none of us human, there's a bazillion options, different options for human design. None of us have mental authority. Like none of us are supposed to make decisions from our mind. None of us. The mind isn't supposed to be where we make decisions. Like the mind is, like she always would say, like the mind is like a playground. We can like play with ideas, but then where we make the decisions from, we have to go back down into the body to make the decisions. We're not making them from like a mental headspace. It's from the body. So that was a huge piece for me in understanding how I make decisions. And so for a sacral authority, like a lot of times when you read about sacral authorities, people say it's like a hell yes or hell no kind of thing, right? That's how you make a decision. And really all that means is it's how you feel in the moment. And it's not so much like a big, like, oh my gosh, it's so exciting. It's not like a big rush. Again, that would be more of like an emotional thing. It's more, it sometimes can be that quiet, they say God speaks in like the still quiet voice, right? That's kind of what it is. It's that still quiet, like, is it a yes or no? How does it feel in my body? And that has been something that has helped me. Like, I cannot tell you how much that has helped me in really tuning into things. And it's really a hard thing to learn at first, especially when you're used to making decisions from your head, from a mental place, and you're used to like constantly bring it up to your mind and let it roll around and let your mind chew on it for like days and weeks on end. And you're used to that. And I don't want to say, when you're in tune with your body, it's really not a hard thing. I think it's just it's a hard cycle to break, I think, because when you're in tune with your body, and that's really what it is, it's feeling that full body yes or full body no, then you understand, because if it's a yes and you feel it in your body, you feel this lightness and this like expansiveness, and you feel that yes. When it's a no, you feel the kind of that constriction and that contraction in the body. And if you can listen to your body, the answers are going to come so clearly. In thinking back to decisions that I made that were maybe not the best decisions, I can think like, yeah, I remember feeling like, this doesn't feel like a yes, but I'm going to do it anyway because I think I should, right? You live by the shoulds. We should ourselves a lot. And this is herein lies the problem of so much of the world, and so much resistance and so much dis-ease in the body is living by the shoulds. We're doing things that aren't in alignment because we think we should do them, but they're not meant for us. And the authority piece is such a huge part of this for me, and understanding how to use my authority. And there's so much deconditioning just in those two pieces alone that had to happen for me. And the deconditioning is it's like an unlearning, right? It's unlearning the part where I need to pick something and stick with it. I'm not meant to do that. It's the unlearning of the part where I need to pick one thing and not do 28 things. But I'm not here to do that. I'm meant to do all the things. It's the unlearning of taking things up into my head and chewing on them for forever before making and making emotional decisions. Those pieces alone. And that's why I say the myhumandesign.com, that site, just giving you those pieces, right, that are on that page, like these pieces alone will change your life. If nothing else, you can type your strategy and authority to use, and that's it. Bam, you've changed your life. So a big piece of human design that I think is really important to be, I don't want to say more successful because that sounds bad, but to, I guess, have it work more effectively is a better way to say that, is being able to be in tune with your body. And that's a big piece because I mean, crap, our body has so much wisdom. And this is another reason I'm doing this series. I'm talking about our body's innate, our innate intelligence. It's about our body, listening to the body. And if I've mentioned this book before, probably 100 times, but if you've never read the book, The Body Keeps the Score, it's like the ultimate example of how much wisdom and just how much our body holds. And so I think a big piece of really being able to effectively integrate your human design into your life is really being in tune with your body and understanding what that means to listen to your body, and the whole body keeps the score thing, like to understand that piece. And it's a process. I don't want to make it sound like, oh, you can't learn anything if you're not in tune with your body. I don't want it to sound like that, but it is a learning process. So the more you tune into these pieces, even just the pieces I'm talking about in this episode, the more you're going to be in tune with your body and hear and listen and feel into those, what your body's telling you and the answers that it's giving you. So the other piece I want to say about one other piece I want to say about the deconditioning with the type, with them as a manifesting generator. So I mentioned that, I felt for a long time that I needed to put myself in a box and, pick a thing and stick to a thing, whatever. That's the other thing about manifesting generators. And if you're a Manny Gen listening to this, you're like, oh my gosh, yes, yes, I am with you. We are not meant to be put in a box. It's like Dirty Dancing where they're like, nobody puts baby in the corner. Like we are not meant to sit in the corner. We're not meant to be put in a box. Manny Gen, that's like the worst possible scenario. It's like a Manny Gen's worst nightmare. So what I mean by that is because we are multi-passionate and multifaceted, and a manifesting generator or a manigen, we are a combination of generators and manifestors. So it's a really unique combination of these two different types. And so we have both of those parts within us. And so we have a very unique way of seeing things and a very unique way of doing things. In fact, as a manigen, we're here to really be like pioneers and create new ways of doing things. That's what we're here to do. And so putting ourselves in a box or having people put us in a box is like, I mean, it's like the Hulk being trapped in the butt, right? It's like you can't trap yourself in that body like that. And that's how you play small. That's how you hold yourself back from your full potential and from your fulfilling your true purpose in life. And for me, again, going back to that connection between human design and your physical wellness, mental wellness, just wellness in general, that is how dis-ease gets created in the body, right? We're holding ourselves back from fulfilling our true potential. We're not allowing that energy to flow. When the energy is not flowing, it's stuck, it's stored, it's stagnant. This is how things build up in the body. This is how we get these stuck, stored, stagnant emotions and energy in the body that's creating dis-ease in the body. So this is why I love human design so much, because there's so much connection to wellness. And that's why I love incorporating it into what I do with my clients and learning that within myself and understanding that even though I might come up with ideas or have this vision, these ideas where it's, my mind is like, what the heck? Like, this is ridiculous. This is so out there. This is so like probably not even possible. Nobody's doing this. Nobody's doing it like this. That is all like conditioning, right? It's all conditioning from society or from your subconscious. That's like, well, I've never seen it like this happen like this before. So it's probably not possible, right? That's the subconscious talking. Whereas if I'm feeling it in my body and in my soul, it's like, no, this is the idea I have. This is what I want to do. Many gens are here to do things in a different way. We are here to bring that to life. And as a 3-5, I'll get to my profile in the next episode because that's a huge one. That one is going to blow your mind. But when I get to that one, I'll talk about even more about what that looks like in terms of like, thinking outside of the box and trying things in a new way. But many gens are here to do it different. And I think that's a big piece for me. And this is something, y'all, when you start really implementing or integrating this into your life, your human design, it's a constant learning process because like I said, there's the deconditioning, there's this unlearning that has to happen. And then there's this relearning that has to happen. And it's all happening at the same time. So sometimes it can be a lot. So sometimes there's this conversation I'm having between like my ego mind and then my like inner voice, inner guidance system body, right? That's like, no, no, you're like arguing with each other. But I have to go back to the foundation of of my human design, right? And understanding, no, I'm meant to do it this way. Like I'm meant to do things different. Just because it doesn't exist and nobody's done it like this way before doesn't mean it's not possible. So this is a huge piece. This is a huge piece. And I think a lot of fear and doubt and worry can be avoided if we understand these pieces. And I know not everybody who's listening here is a manifesting generator, so but it still applies to your type. Understanding those pieces of yourself and leading your life from that place is a total game changer. The last piece I want to pull out about my chart in this one is my strategy. So your strategy again is on that main page. And really and truly any website you go to that because you can get it for free, it's all free. Any website you go to is going to have your type, your strategy and authority. So all of it's going to be there. Your strategy is what I said. Your strategy is what else I want to talk about. So my strategy if you're a manifesting generator, my strategy is responding. And this is another big piece. This one was kind of a tougher one for me to really understand, like fully understand and integrate. I don't know why I had trouble with this one, but this was a little trickier for me. So to respond basically encourages people. If you're a generator or manifesting generator, then your strategy is responding. So that it applies to both types. Basically, it means you're waiting for life to come to you and respond accordingly rather than initiating actions independently. So it's not so much this like rigid set of rules, like we have to do things a certain way. Again, that's not what we're here meant to do, but it's more of this kind of flexibility to enable you to align with your innate abilities and strengths and kind of foster this more of a harmonious relationship with life where you're not constantly pushing, right, and forcing things to happen, but go with the flow, right? And let life provide you with something to respond to and then you take action. And again, it is a little bit this is one of those harder to understand ones. At least it was for me. Maybe it's not for you, but it was for me. And I think for me, especially when I first learned this, I'm like, okay, so what? I'm just supposed to sit around and wait? Like that sounds ridiculous. I got things to do. Like I'm not one to sit around. And here's the other thing, side note, as a manifesting generator, if you're a generator too, like we have got unrelenting energy. And so it's like we're like the Energizer bunny. So it's a tricky part of having that generator energy is to wait to respond because you're like, but I got to be doing the thing, right? I want to explain it this way. We're waiting for life to come to you, right? And then respond rather than initiating. So, not forcing things to happen. And really, this ties into your authority as a sacral authority, too. It's my authority as a sacral authority because it's really about like sitting with that gut reaction, right? That sacral nudge is the gut reaction, that like inner pulling, that inner tug, and moves them to or from something, to the right situation, to the right people, or whatever. And so it's not just about knowing when to act, but it's also recognize the importance of patience and awareness and attention and tuning into your own inherent design. And this is the hard piece for me because it's that in between. And I just did a post about this. I guess by the time this goes out, it would have been a couple weeks, but you can go back and look at my feed. I just did a post about this because I fight this so friggin' much. In I think as humans, we just do in general, right? As humans, we are very motivated by the instant gratification, right? We want it when we want it yesterday. And I'm the same. And I think it's especially hard for a generator, a manifesting generator, because we have so much energy, because we're constantly moving and doing and thinking and creating and all those things. And we actually are here to skip steps and do things quickly, but we have to do that from a place of joy and not from a place of forcing. And for me, that's the hard part. And the responding piece can be so tricky. And that for just from that part of like the patience and kind of tuning in to waiting to respond. Because here's the thing, like your sacral, your gut, when you have that as your authority, it's going to communicate through like feelings. I was talking about your body, right? Through feelings, through emotions, this kind of inner knowing, this inner knowledge, rather than these very clear, logical, articulate thoughts that are coming straight through. Like it's not like God is sitting next to you talking into your ear, like, yeah, do this. That's not how it happens. And so the challenge really is to tune into this communication source and learn to trust it. It's a huge lesson in trust and patience. And I think that's why it's so hard for me. The patience piece is a little, it's not my strong suit. And so, and it can also seem counterintuitive, right? Especially if, again, talking about deconditioning in society where we really have a lot of value on mental decision making, which is what I was saying. There's so much deconditioning around this decision making, your authority, your strategy, your type, y'all. I cannot stress to you how much these three pieces will change your life because we live in a society that that prioritizes and values and teaches making mental decisions. We're taught to make decisions from our head, right? That's how we're taught. None of us, when I say none of us are meant to make decisions from our minds. None of us. 0%. We all have authorities that rely on either our emotions, our intuition, our splenic centers, our center for intuition, from our gut, from a sounding board, from other people. Like those are the types of authorities that we have. It is nobody has mental authority. There's nothing. So when we live in a society that's valuing that and that's telling us to do it, it's so counterintuitive to wait to respond. Like, what am I waiting on? Like, what am I responding? It just doesn't make sense. There's this piece where we have to learn to tune into our body. We have to learn how to not bring things up into the head, but keep it down in our body in those lower chakras, those lower centers when we're making decisions and using that to respond to. So it really has to do with kind of the energy, the aura of a generator or manifesting generator, because we have this really expansive and inviting aura. We don't need to chase things down or force things to happen, like force things into existence. Like we are meant to just, I don't want to say like sit back and let like life happen because it sounds like that doesn't sound right. But we are meant to go with the flow and live in the present. I think that's what I'm trying to say is really to be more in the moment rather than looking 5 steps ahead. And that's a big thing with the man. This is another piece. This is coming up for me now. This is another piece of the deconditioning puzzle for me as a manifesting generator. And not only that, when we get to the episode where I'll talk about the arrows or the variables, this is a big one there for me. And this is why I always struggle with like goal setting. You know what? I've worked with a gazillion coaches and done tons of programs. And, we talk about goal setting and stuff. It always like it made me want to vomit. Like goal setting, like setting goals for, your 5-year plan or your 10-year plan, even my 1-year plan was like, I don't know. Like, I'm going to change my mind before then. I don't know how to do that. That was so hard for me. And this is such a huge part of a Manny Jen's energy and aura is we're really not meant to look that far ahead because the way our energy works is, right, we're following what lights us up in the moment. Our minds change, things change, our passions change, and our direction can change. And so this is a big piece with looking at your strategy. I'm talking about responding because if we're chasing things and we're like forcing things to happen, we're not living in the moment, right? We're not being present with what's here in the now and letting that be what drives our decision, right? And what we're responding to. We're too busy forcing and looking too far ahead. So I think this is where a lot of frustration happens when we're trying too hard to make something happen without really following that response. And I find so my not self theme. This is another piece I guess I could pull out in this episode. Your not self theme. You'll also typically should be on every chart that you look at. Your not self theme is like your sign that you're living out of alignment, right? So for me, it's frustration. For manifest, it's like frustration and impatience as a Gen, because it's kind of a combination of generator and generator manifester. And so for me, it's the frustration piece. So when I feel the frustration, the strategy and authority piece is a lot of times I go to that first. Okay, where am I forcing things to happen? Where am I like initiating too much and I'm not waiting to respond to what life is giving me, like putting in front of me, right? Where am I forcing these to happen because I've just made a decision from my head and not from, right? So you can kind of use that as a kind of guidepost to understanding, okay, do I need to check in and figure out where I'm, going against my authority or my strategy or whatever. So I think patience is a big piece of this. I think the other piece is trust and trusting that as a manifest, as a management for me, it's trusting that my energy, the way my aura is designed, that it's always working on my behalf and to magnetize things to me that are meant for me. And yes, this applies to everybody, but it works a little bit differently with different types. And just to trust that life's coming to me. I have the ability to know myself well enough to recognize whether I'm feeling energized by something or I'm feeling drained and to know what that means and to really cultivate that connection between forcing things to happen or responding to what life is putting in front of me. Hopefully that's making sense. So that was a lot. I think the takeaways here, I want you to understand how crucial these three pieces are with your type, your strategy, and your authority. Again, these three pieces alone can change everything for you. And so I encourage you, if you haven't yet, to go get your chart and follow along and go back and listen to all of this to see what's coming up. And I will have a guide at the end of this series to kind of help walk you through some things. The other thing I want to mention to you, I have a masterclass. It's still going on. And if you already missed the first session, it's fine because the replays are there. But I have a masterclass that's going on right now. It's a series. And it's kind of along these lines. It is a more practical application of human design, and I'm tying it to your business and to your wellness. It's really a way for you to explore the different principles of human design, the different human design elements, and be able to integrate those into your wellness practices, into your business strategies, and kind of going through some pieces of those. And then the other piece that I want to invite you into, the other piece that's coming out of this that I'm really excited about is my new program. And I'll be launching it soon. So I'll send information as it kind of comes to the forefront because I haven't launched it completely yet. This program is really all about discovering the power of human design, and I'm putting that together with cycle syncing. So everything I'm talking about in this podcast series about your body's own innate intelligence in human design, that's what it's all about. But it's applying it to you and to your body, to your business, and all of that. So this program that I'm creating is really here to revolutionize the way you approach your life and your business and your well-being when we apply the teachings of human design, when we apply like the natural rhythms of your body and your cycle, and I'm putting these two together, like how we can use our human design throughout the month in different parts of our cycle to really optimize our energy and our output and how we're showing up in our relationships and our business and how it's impacting our health and our wellness. And I mean, it's literally optimizing every part, every aspect of your life. And so it's harmonizing your body and your business and your life with all of this. It's connecting you with yourself and understanding that true essence of yourself and the depths of your individual human design and the keys to your authenticity, understanding these pieces to embody ease and flow in your business and your life and all of these different parts of your well-being. Because really the stress and the resistance we feel is us being disconnected from our true authentic self. And that's why I love the human design piece so much. And I love being able to tie this into just our body wisdom, right? Our body's innate intelligence, because it's bringing you back to your true essence of understanding who you are, learning who you are, how your body works, how it's designed, and how to use this to tap into this natural flow of life and putting all these pieces together. I mean, it's really here to elevate how you're showing up in your business and in your life. And while yes, I am going to talk about business, if you have a business or if you have a career, if you're feeling the pull to learn more about this and how to tie this in, it's still going to apply to you. It's still going to apply to you whether you have a business or not. We're just going to talk about some business there in the program too. But I want this program to be a way for you to learn about yourself and about life and about how you're designed on a whole new level. And I'm tying in some new pieces that I've been working on and I've been training in. I'm going to talk about gene keys in one of these episodes because I'm going to tie in that. I'm tying in some hypnosis in that you're going to get access. Like it's going to be incredible. And it is just, I'm so excited about the opportunity for women coming into this program. I mean, it's going to completely revolutionize the way you're doing everything in your life. Your kids, your relationships, your spouse, your partner, your business, it's everything. It touches every part of you. And it will change you on a cellular level of how you're showing up in life. So I'll talk more about it as we go through this series. I'm really excited about this series too. I love being able to provide practical application of things. And I think this is going to be the best way to do it. The next episode, I'm going to go deep into my profile and how to use your profile. This one is huge. This one is huge. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited about all of them. I keep saying that, but I can't help myself. I'm going to see y'all in the next one. And make sure you bring your chart with you because you can kind of look through your chart as well. And I'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Hopeful and Wholesome, y'all. If you found value in this week's episode, please subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and leave a review to let me know what you thought. I'd love to know what you find useful in these episodes so I can know how to provide the most value I can to my listeners. And if you have topics you'd like to know more about, I'd love to hear those as well. So shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. It's at @thehopepedraza, or you can visit my website, hopefulandwholesome.com. Thanks, y'all.